right, now if you're gonna have a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle, I've found that the one thing that is totally hard to do without is a high-speed blender. There's two kinds that are on the market right now. One is the Vitamix. Oops. One's Vitamix and one is Blendtex. I'm obviously a Vitamix user because I can't remember the name of the other one. So the high-speed blenders, you can do all this stuff without the high-speed blender. It's just a lot harder. So like for instance, right now, we're going to be making some nut cheese, and you can do it in a regular blender, but it's going to turn out lumpier. The high-speed blender just makes everything really smooth and really creamy, and it can pretty much liquefy anything. If you've got a regular blender, it's just going to turn out a little bit lumpier, and you're going to have to add a lot more water to get the same job done. So my one recommendation, if you're going to be, if you're serious about doing this healthy diet and lifestyle, invest in a high-speed blender. I love this baby. I love it. I use it like 5 times a day, and I've never regretted it. This is the best investment I've ever made. They're kind of expensive, $400 to $500, but it's the best investment in your health you can make as far as just making healthy eating really quick and really easy and totally manageable. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a nut cheese. This is a cream cheese that we're going to turn into a cheesecake, and we're going to make it with a base of cashews instead of dairy. So this is perfect for those people that can't eat dairy, lactose intolerant, and it's amazing. Now I usually make this cheesecake just without doing the bacteria culture in there. Well, I did, and then I realized, okay, if I'm going to be making it anyway, I'm just going to do one more step, and then instead of just regular awesome delicious cheesecake, you've got awesome delicious cheesecake with probiotics in it. It just doesn't get any better than that. All we're going to do is we've soaked these nuts overnight. You only have to soak them for about 4 hours, but you can soak them overnight if you want. And what that does is raw nuts and seeds, they're covered with enzyme inhibitors and phytic acid. And what that does is it protects the seed from germinating too soon and growing when it's not ready to grow. But what it does in our bodies is it makes it so we can't digest it. It blocks all the digestion, and it also blocks the digestion of other foods around it. So if you're eating nuts that have lots of phytic acid in it, you can't absorb iron and magnesium and lots of other minerals because it blocks all that off. So some people, when they eat raw nuts and seeds that haven't been soaked, they get kind of a nauseous stomach, or they can't digest them very well, they get gas. If you'll just soak your seeds and then rinse them off before you eat them, that usually takes care of that problem. So for an actual nut allergies where your throat swells up, that's an allergy. That's not going to fix that. But if it's just a nut sensitivity where you just kind of get nauseous, usually soaking the nuts will take care of that, and people can handle nuts after that. Here. They have it in their bulk section, so you just go back there and you can get a little tiny bit or a lot, whatever you want, and it's pretty cost effective if you're getting them bulk. Now when you eat nuts and seeds, if you get them roasted and salted, nuts and seeds have lots of really healthy oils in them, but they're also very delicate. They're heat sensitive, so if you roast a nut, the oils are oxidize really quickly, and so they're not good for you anymore. And if you're salting them or frying them or whatever, it just ruins all the nutrients in the nuts. So you want to get them raw, and you want to soak them before you eat them. So all we did was soak those, rinse them off. We're going to put them in the high-speed blender, and we're going to make cream cheese out of this, and you guys are going to love this. You can use this cream cheese for lots of other stuff too. You can use it for like spreads or wraps or sandwiches, whatever you use cream cheese in, you can use it. You can use this for all of that. Okay. Okay, so if you did this in a regular blender, it wouldn't get that creamy, and you wouldn't have been able to do it that fast. So in here, and so if you'll see this, it's like really, really creamy. It's just like cream cheese. There's no chunks left in there. I did it the food snobby way for you guys, but I'll show you how to do the cheater way too, okay? So the cheater way to do this would be just to take your probiotics and dump those babies in there. Now, just as a general rule of thumb, on this, where's the bottle? Down here it tells you the potency of the probiotics. So right here it's 5 billion viable cells per capsule. So that means there's 5 billion little bacteria, guys, in each capsule, okay? Some of the capsules come with 20 billion, some come with 1 billion, some come with only a few million in there. Generally, I try to get the highest amount possible. But For a rule of thumb, I usually do about 5 billion organisms per cup of whatever I'm making. So when I made the sauerkraut and I had a little jar this size, that was a 2 cup, so I put 2 capsules in because they're 5 billion each. If I had a 20 billion capsule, you know, you only need like a quarter of that for that. So I've got 3 cups of cream cheese in here, so I'm going to put in 3. And just because I'm transferring this from place to place a lot, I'm going to put in an extra one. Sometimes when I'm first learning how to do this, I always put in extra probiotics, and then you can always back it off later, you know, and use less. But when you're first learning how, putting in too much probably isn't going to hurt anything. It'll probably help it, so you don't have the problem where it doesn't turn out because you don't have enough probiotics in there. So all I'm going to do, you don't want to blend these because these guys are little live cells. So if you blend them in the high-speed blender, it's going to kill them all. So you don't want to do that. Mix it by hand. The cheater way would just be to take this, and this makes really awesome sour cream or cream cheese spread. You can add herbs to it, like I make a really yummy lemon thyme sour cream or cream cheese that you can spread on sandwiches and wraps and potatoes and stuff. All you do is you do this, put it in a glass bowl, and just let it sit on the counter for a day or 2. Keep tasting it till it's nice and tart the way you like it, and then put it in the fridge, okay? That's the cheater way. The food snobby way, the way I like to do it is you just put a lot of water in there. So there's 3 cups of nuts, 1 cup of water to make, see how it's kind of like sour cream consistency. If you want it to be nice and thick like cream cheese, you got to get all that water back out that you just put in. So I've got right here, it's just a nut milk bag that I make almond nut milk with. You can get these online. I just got some unbleached muslin and I just made a little pillowcase shape out of it, and they're pretty easy if you know how to sew. Can I have somebody come up here and just help me for a second? If you hold this, you can hold this right here. Okay. I'm going to scrape. Thank you. So you put this into the, you can use cheesecloth or a nut milk bag. Oh, shoot. That's okay. We'll make it work. This is kind of a 2-person job, maybe a 3-person job, I guess, right here. Okay, we can, that's okay. We can just get the main idea. Thank you. So you just take this, squeeze it down like so, and what you're going to do is twist the bag until the water starts coming out. Now with cashews, cheese, if I made a feta cheese in the class before this with macadamia nuts, and those are kind of coarser than cashews. Because these are so creamy, you got to get a really tightly woven bag or else it's going to leak through, okay? So what you want to do is twist this till it's really, really tight, and it's got stuff on the outsides because we spilled, but squeeze it till it's tight, put a strainer over the bowl, put this in, and then you put a heavy weight on it. So I put a bowl on top of it and then put like a gallon jug of water on it, and what that does is it puts pressure on it and it squeezes it, and then all of the water falls out through the strainer into the bowl, and then you have a nice thick cream cheese after a day or 2. Cool, huh? And while all the water is squishing out of it, it's fermenting and the culture, the bacteria is growing. So after like 24 hours, you'll come and you'll smell it and you'll get that nice cheesy kind of smell to it, okay? After it gets to the point where usually 24 to 48 hours, depending on how potent you want the cheesy flavor to be, take it out of the bag and then I'll show you what to do with it after that. So that's how you make the snobby cream cheese. All right, so I'm going to show you first how to make the cheesecake base, and then you can add whatever flavors you want. I've made really yummy flavors of cheesecake. I've made like a chocolate mint cheesecake, hazelnut cheesecake with white chocolate frosting. I've made, did I say blueberry pear? I've made this lemon cheesecake. My favorite kind so far is like a chocolate cheesecake, and then I do chocolate and vanilla with a raspberry drizzle on it. So really you just take this cheesecake base and you can do, there you go. You can do whatever you want with it as far as flavoring after you've made the base. Makes it really simple. Okay, so this is raw local honey. I generally sweeten most of my stuff with this because raw local honey is a superfood. It's very high in antioxidants. It's got antimicrobial properties, which means it's antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. It's used as a stomach tonic to help with digestive disorders. And if you have seasonal allergies, it's really great for helping seasonal allergies if you use local raw honey, okay? This is a little bit of vanilla. It's clear vanilla, so that's why it's not brown. And then I've got a little bit of salt here. When you use salt, make sure it's natural salt that is colorful. So if you just get regular iodized salt from the store, it's going to be white. It's highly processed, and it's going to have all of the healthy properties of salt are taken out of it. It's processed like at 1200 degrees, so it kind of messes up the molecular structure, and it makes it totally indigestible. So what you want is a natural, unprocessed salt, and usually you can tell what that is by the color of it. So like Celtic gray sea salt, it has some color to it. The Redmond real salt is kind of pink. So if you look at it, you can see what's the healthiest salt because of the color, and that's generally got the highest mineral content. It's been processed the least, and it's the healthiest for you. This is coconut oil. I've melted this down now. If you get raw, 100% raw coconut oil that's just virgin pressed, it's a healthy fat, which means that it hasn't, instead of your body treating it like a fat, which is to store it for energy use later, it treats it like a carbohydrate. So when you eat coconut oil, it's a medium chain triglyceride, so your body burns it up right away, just like it's a carbohydrate. It's also very anti-pathogenic, so it's antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, and it's a really awesome fat to use. They're using it in with Alzheimer's disease. They're finding that your brain, with some Alzheimer's patients, is starving to death, and coconut oil is one of the things that feeds the brain. And so they're finding that if they're putting people on high doses of coconut oil, their Alzheimer's symptoms are kind of going away. So there's lots of healthy benefits to choosing the proper oils. You know, when you're on a diet, you don't have to worry about cutting out all the fat out of your diet. That's not the way to go. Your body needs fat. Your body needs the nutrients that fat can provide. It's about finding the healthiest fats possible, okay? And coconut oil is the way to go. The other thing is, with this coconut oil, it's melted. Usually it's kind of hard. Yeah, it's hard and white. It melts at 76 degrees, so you don't have to heat it up on the burner. You want to keep it raw. You just do that by putting it in tap water. So I just put it in an airtight container, soak it in tap water, and it just has to be like 80 degrees, and then it'll melt it. So you don't have to heat it or boil it or anything like that. Now, instead of the honey, you can use other healthy sweeteners like grade A or B maple syrup, 100%. You can use raw agave nectar. You can use, it's called sucanate. It's like an unprocessed cane sugar it kind of looks like grainy brown sugar. So you can use whatever kind of natural sweetener that you want to use. And I find that when I'm on a healthy food diet, it's so hard. Like when you get those cravings, like I just got to have something sweet and delicious right now. Like you want something right now. You don't want to have to like spend an hour making a cheesecake, right? So in our freezer, we have like 4 or 5 different kinds of like ice creams and cheesecakes and cookies that we've pre-made. And then when you've got your craving for something delicious, you go in the freezer and you've got it, and it's instant. And all of this is made from raw, whole, organic superfoods. So when you're eating this, you're actually getting more nutrition than most people get out of their meals. And I remember when we first started eating this way, my daughter and I, we ate pie and cake and cheesecake and cookies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day for a while. And actually we were getting better nutrition doing that than we were eating our regular meals of processed food. So I find that that's a really good strategy, is just to make a whole bunch of desserts, keep them in your freezer, and then you've got some variety and you can have it right away when you want it and when you need it. Okay.
You would, so I would eat it all.
What do you guys think? Yeah. And you know what? The cool thing about this, like for me, when before I started eating healthy and I was eating a lot of sugar and chocolate and processed foods, I found that when, like if I had a bag of chocolate chips, I'd eat the whole thing. And the first bite, like I automatically get this craving like, oh, I gotta have more. And you can't stop eating it. And it's just this insatiable desire to just like keep stuffing yourself, even if you feel like you're gonna barf, right? Have you guys done that before? When you're eating raw, healthy, whole foods, your body knows when it's had enough nutrition. Like that's the trigger is like, oh, I've had enough nutrition. So when you're eating this, yeah, seriously, like you get a craving and you eat this and it's not like, oh, I'm gonna eat the whole package. You eat a slice and then you're like, oh, I'm done. I'm just not feeling like I'm craving anymore. And so you're satisfied, you've been fed high nutrition, you're satisfied, you're not craving anything anymore, and you've done a good thing for your body. So I found that this is just awesome because it fixes all those problems all at the same time. What do you guys think about the cheesecake?
It's awesome.
Pretty groovy? Can you believe that that's like a fermented raw dessert? Like it's, yes.
So I guess freezing doesn't kill bacteria.
It diminishes it, but it doesn't kill it. So if you can, like, if you want to maximize the bacteria in here, just refrigerate it. But I had to like transport it and stuff, so we had to freeze it so that it wouldn't get all mushy on the way here and on the way back.
And how long will it stay good in the refrigerator for?
For a long time.
It wouldn't last, but I'm just saying. Like, I didn't know if you gotta like eat it right away. Like
No. So like for this, for instance, it's made out of honey, which will last forever, coconut oil, which will last forever, vanilla, salt, the cashews, and the probiotics, remember they're preservatives. So if you keep it covered and you haven't like put a dirty spoon in there or something, it'll keep for a while.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it'll keep in the freezer indefinitely. Like I've had stuff in the freezer for 6 months and it's still fine. But in the refrigerator, at least a couple weeks.
And is the base nuts?
Yeah, so we'll do the crust. I'll show you guys how to make the crust in a second. Yeah, it's made out of, this whole thing's made out of nuts. And the point of this is that it's dairy-free and that it's raw, okay? It hasn't been cooked, completely dairy-free, and that's what's cool about it. If you've got dairy allergies, obviously you're gonna have to figure out a plan B. You like that? Yeah, so if you like that, I've taught about 15 other classes before this. One of them was the desserts class, and so I teach you how to make a whole bunch of different kinds of cheesecakes and ice creams and lots of dairy-free stuff and sugar. So it's all dairy-free, raw, sugar-free. So if you're interested in a cookbook and a video from past classes, those are $20 as well. So if you want, you can just email me and I'll send you the list of all the classes I've taught in the past, and if you're interested, we can get you hooked up with one of those. All right, so you guys love it? We've got just some lemon zest here. We're going to throw that in there. A little bit of lemon oil. Now this is essential oils. You can also just use lemon extract that you get in the regular grocery store. So this is just going to give it like that zingy, yummy lemon flavor that tastes like lemon drops. Okay, and then we're going to squeeze just a little bit of lemon juice in there to give it that tartness that we like the lemonade tartness. And I'm actually going to put a little bit in there too. Okay, and in the other one, and again, you can flavor this with whatever you want, okay? In the other one, we're just going to put some raspberries. I've just got a bag of frozen raspberries. And you just take the base, put whatever flavor you want in there, and you've got instant cheesecake. This is awesome stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to blend these babies up real quick. Okay, I'm hoping I don't splat the people in the front row right there. There's your raspberry. And oops, I should have done the lemon first because the lemon's going to get pink now. Okay, so there's your two fillings. Easy, right? Like I kind of made a big mess and talked a lot while I was doing it, but there's your two fillings. And now I'll show you how to make the crust. Now once you get this down to science, and especially if you do it the cheater way, like if you've got the high-speed blender and you don't put very much water in and you just got to use that tamper to smash it down a lot, you can make a pretty thick cream cheese without doing the bag, okay, without putting it in the bag. You just put only as much water as you need. Use the smasher to smash it down in there. And then it can be pretty, so you don't even have to use the bag if you don't want to. This just makes it extra nice and thick.